hi everybody. I'm very happy that there are some people there because before Ben had a very great speech and then everybody stood up and I was like, okay, are they all leaving and I'm alone here now? So very happy to see you all. For everybody that is not seeing me here on stage, there's a little picture of me next to me. And there are just some words that I want to tell you about me, so you know who is here. So my name is Dominique, I'm 34 years old, I'm living in Berlin. And so my main job at DKB Service is the lead for culture and diversity. What I do in my second life, I would say I do a lot of speeches and workshops for diversity networking and new work. And I'm also co-author of the book Zukunftsrepublik. It's a very German title, but everybody who is interested, it's a very cool book with a lot of cool people in it. So, but now let's start, I would say. So we want to talk today about how to use the full potential of our employees, the current and the former one. So I have bad news at the beginning. It needs two things of you. So first of all, your time. And the second is your personal involvement. So for everybody that is not interested in doing this, now it's the time to put all your cell phones out of your pockets, check some mails, or grab some coffee. For everyone else that is really interested in doing this, I'm very happy for you to stay. And I would say, let's start. So we will talk about three things today. So first of all, what potential really means. And where do we face this potential of our employees along the employer journey? And the third thing, that is really my hard topic, I would say, my lovely one, is why diversity will boost this potential of all your employees. So let's start with the meaning of potential. And good news now, when I also started with the bad ones, everyone has potential. So in every one of us, if you look to your left or your right, you will see a lot of potential. And potential is just sleeping or dormant in most of the people, and it could come as gifts, knowledge, skills, everything that we can do. It's all the competencies that are not developed yet. So good news. Potential are possibilities, and I think it is very necessary for us to empower our people to use their full potential. Because I think everybody of you heard about the war for talent. And good news, this war is over. Bad news for some people, the employers have won. So we need us and you and all the leaders and the colleagues out there to build a happy place for our employees so they stay and we will do a great work together. So here's a short quote. I won't read it. I think everybody can do it on your own. It's from the former CEO of Zappos. I don't know if you know his book. It's called Delivering Happiness, and I think that's what the speech is today about. And for all the brave ones here, just close your eyes and do a little journey with me together. Just think about the fact that we will close our eyes and stand up tomorrow morning, going to work, meeting all our co-workers, all our employees, and they will bring all their talents, all their identity and all their personality into the job. And they get rewarded for what we do or what we say is different. So think different, ask, is the status quo is really good or should we do something else? And we reward them for doing different things and not reward them for the way they do their work we want them to do. So I think it's some crazy shit, I think, but that's our task as a leader. And then if it comes to money, so you see that little money gun on the left, it's also very good if the people are motivated, happy, and satisfied. Because there are a lot of studies out there that says if we have that kind of team, our companies are 21% more profitable. And I think that's a very good argument to do so. So if I get 21% more of my salary, I would be happy. Here on my side, you can see the normal employee life circle. On the left diagram axis, you see the potential they bring in, the motivation, everything else, and there's the time. And you can see the start is at -5. who just changed his job or her job in the last couple of years? Onboarding, big point, big part, and most of the time, really, really not good. So this is where it starts at -5, because the people are coming and they don't know what their real job is, they don't know where to go, they perhaps don't have a buddy. So it lasts a couple of time until they can bring their full potential in. And after they brought their full potential in, they're very happy, they're satisfied, and then there's the peak. And then they say, okay, there's no involvement, there's no empowering. So they do and make the decision to leave. Who of you hired some people in the last 2 years? Just raise your hands. And was it as painful as I think? Because it's a great journey, but to find the right employees, it's pretty hard. And so I think the best part of it is focus on the potential and the happiness of your employees. So you can just prolong the line until they do, or until they make the decision to leave. Because I think everybody will make this decision to leave once. Best part is they just leave your team and go somewhere else in the company, but perhaps they also leave the company. But your task as a good leader is that they are happy if they leave and they always want to come back. And so you see the start is a good onboarding, and then also everything will be better and longer. And even on the last day, they're still motivated because they're very happy how you handle them along their employer journey at your office. So now we try to understand what we have to do at the beginning when the people are coming to us. Identify the strengths and weaknesses. So we all know that very stupid question in all the interview process that says, tell me about your strengths and weaknesses, and everybody's telling you their weaknesses. That sounds like strength. I'm so impatient, so this is why I do all the great work. That's not a weakness. And the same as we have to identify the real strengths of the people. Best case, best practice is before you put the job description online on the website, you already know what kind of goals this employee has to achieve, and therefore you know what kind of strengths they need. So if it's like that, and I know 50% it's not like that, then you have a very, very easy job. Otherwise, you have to really go deep into dialogue and ask questions and find out what kind of strengths they have and focus on them. Don't focus on the weaknesses, because it's like investing. Why should you do all that investment in some weaknesses where you have to invest much more than if you invest in strengths, where you have to invest less and get more out of it? And then you have to ask a lot of questions, like, what do you need to work well here? What do you want from me as a leader that I help you with? What do you want to learn? And after all these questions and all this dialogue, hopefully you will find a great team connection. So you find out, if you look at your team and you know all the strengths and all the weaknesses of your team, what kind of strengths they bring in, but also who of the team can compensate the other one's weaknesses. And then there's another very important question: what motivates your employees? So fun fact is, we always think what motivates us motivates them. So I can tell you, I'm very honest with that. I love shopping and I love going to KaDeWe. So if I get a 10K bonus, I'm very motivated, I'm all in. But there are other people that are very motivated by purpose or anything else. So if we get them a bonus, but on the other hand, not the training they're asking for, they are not a very well-motivated employee. So we have to find out what motivates them, and everyone in the team perhaps be different. I don't know, who of you knows the moving motivators? Yay! Okay, for everybody else, that's no problem. You find that out and you can just Google it. It's pretty cool because there are just 10 of them. So there's a card game you can buy, or you just do it online with your team. If you Google it, you will find a lot of solutions. And what you have to do is just put it in a row from 1 to 10. So what motivates you the most, what comes after that, and everything else. So there are things like, as I said, purpose, but also thirst of knowledge, influence, a lot of things. Just check it out, it's really fun. And after that, you also know how you can motivate everyone in your team. And perhaps you will find a difference after a couple of while. And now it's about matching. It's not Tinder, but it's also very fun. It's about matching qualifications and goals. As I said, best case, you know what kind of qualifications your employee need before you put your job description online. But we know it lasts a bit until the right employee is found, and then he or she entered the company 3 to 6 to 9 months later. And we all know that very vulnerable environment. At the end, the job description is totally different than we hired. And so you have to understand what kind of qualifications they have, what soft and hard skills they have, and what they need. So you can fulfill the gap and make a training or a plan how to achieve them. And also the goals, they are very, very important. Because if you hire, you have to understand what kind of goals the employee has to achieve. And so we all, hopefully, are very happy if we know what we have to achieve, because then we know what we do and why we do it. So you have to break down the goals for the annual report to quarterly one, and then to your team and to your employee. And then just have really, regular checks. There's another picture I brought. It's also for men, but there's just a woman here. So first of all, we need a job description. I think this is done. Then the competence profiles that comes out of that job description. Best case, you know what kind of changes this will have, or this job will have in the next 5 years, so you know what is needed now and what is needed then, so you can put a training along the line. Then annual goals, I don't know who knows the German Jahresgespräch. I really hate that word because most of the people think, oh, because it's a Jahresgespräch, which means annual review, it's okay if I do it just once a year. Yes, you can do it, but then it will last a couple of years until you really tap all this potential out of your employees. So what you need are regular feedback meetings. And for these regular feedback meetings, there are also some rules. I don't know who of you had a feedback meeting and came out and said, okay, thanks for the feedback, I can't really do anything with it. So what we need if we're going on feedback meetings with our employees, we need a fixed procedure from both sides. We need preparation, because I think time is really important, and if I ask my employee to have a feedback meeting and I go in there and just talk and don't find the point, doesn't make any sense, and it has to be constructive. So what can I do with the feedback I get? And the last thing is suggestions for solutions. And here on the right hand, there's also training and promotion. So I think 10 to 15 years ago, we made a study, or we made a quotient, and then we entered the professional life circle, and it was fine, because all we've learned brought us all the way down to, 65, when we were 65 and left the company. Today it's totally different, because our job and our environment is changing every second. So you can say normally all the skills you have need an update every 2 years. So what we have to understand is everybody from us, or everybody of us, has to learn. Leaders, employees, everyone, management board until, I don't know. And this is what we always have to have in mind. Then there's now the satisfaction part. So how do you satisfy your employees on a daily basis? And it's like in every relationship, do it with all your heart or not at all. So practice active listening. I think everybody of us heard like active listening. I can listen, I'm sorry, I have 2 ears, I'm in. Active listening is totally different, because if you practice it, it's pretty hard. So for me, it's hard. Hopefully for you, it's not that hard. And what you have to do is you get into a dialogue with your employee or with your coworker, and then really, really just listening. Don't try to find the answer while the other one is talking. Don't ask yourself, oh, okay, I know that. I want to go in. No, just listening. After the speech is done, repeat what you understand, because that's the second really hard part. What they say and what you understand don't have to be the same. And if then you both are 100% sure that you understand everything right, just make sure that there was no between the lines message, because this is also very important. And after you checked all the 3 first boxes, then you make the idea, and then you think about what you want to answer. And thank your employee for the trust, the transparency, and the dialogue, because that's not normal. It's not usual, and we have to empower them to do more. So always aim for dialogue. What it means is we talk a lot. So normally in sales, everybody is talking a lot. But the question is, what is it if it comes to dialogue? Is it really that you are interested in the other one's opinion? Is it really that you are looking for the other one to make a part of this speech or talk? So what it's needed is you really have to listen and make an environment where the people are very happy to share their opinions, to share their ideas, because otherwise you as a leader just get your own vision, your own idea back in, I don't know, 10 times different, but it's always your decision at the end, or your vision. And never not learning. So I think it's pretty good to understand that even you as a leader has to learn every day. You will learn how to handle the relationship with your employees. You will learn how to, I don't know, go along with a new tool and everything else. So never not learning is very important, and you have to be a role model in it. And there's another point. Be a role model. I know it's a role model all over the place, so here I'm very active in female empowerment, role model. I've read about it every day. Some of them are, some of them I don't know. But which is very important, you have to give 150% in and be happy if your employees give 50 or 75% back. That's a very good number, because I don't know who of you knows the last Gallup studies numbers that say 17% of our employees are really into their work. They are motivated. 17%, that's not much. And 13% are very toxic, so they are actively working against our company. And then there's the middle, the one that are okay-ish with their work, that are not really into it, but they're also not against it. And what is your important task is keep the 17% and try to get as much as you can from the middle to the 17%. So be a role model. And yeah, it's hard work, but I think it's worth it. And now we came to the last point, why diversity will boost the potential of your employees even more. So there's the world, and I think if you want to conquer the world, you need diversity to understand the world. I know diversity is on everybody's lips. There are a lot of programs, initiatives in every company. Some of them are very good, some of them are pink and greenwashing. But I think it's great that we all understand that the world is getting more and more diverse. So if we want to address more employees, we have to have a different kind of people at our table. Also, if we want to address all the target groups out there, we need a diverse team. And I don't know who of you just remember when it comes to new work, Scrum, Agile, whatever, we were all so happy and said, now we understand why should someone, just one person, can make a decision for the whole company. Now we are doing this decision as a team. So I ask you a question. If the team totally seems the same, if they have the same background, perhaps the same gender, the same nationality, the same ideas, the same religion, isn't it like it's the same person that is doing the decision? So just use the full potential and bring as much different people on the table as you can. And then know your bias. So the good news is you can handle it. The bad news is everybody of us has one. So it's unconscious and conscious, and the unconscious one are the dangerous ones, because we meet them across the whole employer journey, which means from the application part. Is the application written like men, women, and diverse people are also addressed? From the hiring part, did you take a look on the photo? Because, for example, people that are good looking, so I know everybody is seeing that differently, but there's, I think, if you go to magazines or anything, a picture of good looking people. You totally think that they are more intelligent and more valuable than other ones. Or if you know that that a woman in your team is getting married, there's a 50% chance or more that you think, oh, now she's getting married, she's getting a baby, she's out of career. This is all unconscious bias. I don't think that every one of us has or do it on a bad purpose or anything, but you have to be aware what your bias is, and you have to handle it. So celebrate diversity and grow. And here see a little circle of diversity. So diversity is really complex, and there are so many ideas out there what diversity is. So normally you go out of your identity, and then there are 4 cycles out of it, all with different dimensions. And the most common one is the second, that has all the main characteristics in it, like gender, age, sexual orientation. I think you know it. And I just brought you a different illustration with a lot of different kinds of diversity. And I ask you, are you already using the full potential of your team? So, I see somebody of you are taking pictures, I like. So we have 7 minutes. I think I'm fine, because this was my little speech, my little impulse. Yeah, I would be happy if someone has any questions, or to find me on LinkedIn and connect, so that we can have a little talk about the one or the other thing. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Dominique. I'm sure there are tons of questions, so who would like to start with the very first question? Yeah? Please, into the microphone.
My name is Mohammad Fayaz. I work for LQ GmbH. We are a product-based company selling Kinderbed and Kinder Matras here. I would like to ask one question. You mentioned regular feedback meetings. Currently, we have analyzed and we have seen that doing this, regular feedback meeting, employees get very frustrated. So what do you recommend, like how we can motivate our employees so, they can just like come for regular feedback meetings, and then they give the insights and show their more motivations towards, the company? What do you think, like, what would be the possible ways of doing this regular feedback meetings with the employees, which must be productive? Rather just like, employees, they just like think, oh, it's like a, everyday meeting, we have so much alignment to do and all, and they got, like, at the end, just like they ended up with the frustration. So, and we have to shorten the meetings, So I would like to have some ideas from your side. What do you recommend?
So I think it's like everywhere in the job, what you brings in, you want to get out. So if you don't have that much time, 15 to 30 minutes are also fine if the structure is right. And the structure should always be the same. And you should have enough time between the feedback meeting A and the feedback meeting B to help the employees to grow, but also that you bring the things on the table and that you can train yourself on the things your employees said you have to, I don't know, change or everything. Because at the beginning, it's always hard because they have to prepare, they have to trust, they have to open themselves. But after the third or fourth meeting, when they see, oh, there's change and it brings something and I can learn from it, and also my leader is helping me, and also he or she is doing or getting a change, that will be motivation enough normally. So, yeah, okay.
Happy? Yeah, okay. Then we had a question here. I remember you.
Hi, Dominique. My name is Olga. I really like your presentation. Thank you for doing it. I have a quite simple question. What are the difference, or whatever you see the difference, how to deal with the employee at the startup scene and let us say in the regular business? Whether this difference exists or not, and can you share some hints? Thank you.
So, just that I understand your question right, you ask for the differences between startups and your, okay. So, I worked also in a startup, I worked for Rocket, so I know some kind of the startup businesses, and I can tell you there are good sheeps and bad sheeps out there. So normally, when we go onto a startup, we have not that much money, so we have to hire the best that we get from the money. And there are some processes that has to be found, and at the beginning it's always chaos. And they have to focus on the people to grow, because if they don't focus on the people, they won't grow. And at the end, it's all about the culture. So when we started, for example, at RatePAY, when I started, we were like 70 people. And then we grew to 125 with one HR partner. That was hard. And then we went to 250. And we had like 7 to 10. And then we really tried to make a process, and we have to have a process. This process can also be not good if we look at the big companies, because then it's not that flexible and you can't really deal with the needs of every employee that are there. And so I think it's not really the difference between startups and big companies. It's always the difference between it's always the difference if there's a good leader or not a bad one, but a leader that has to have their own trainings. So I think at the end you just have to focus on the people, and it's easier if there's a smaller startup than it's a big company. I know I don't ask, I think you're not happy, but perhaps we can find just 5 minutes then to have a longer talk then.
Yeah, thank you. It seems like you could have a discussion about this. Yeah, I see you. I have one question here, and we might be able to have a last final question, and otherwise you will be around to answer questions, right? So.
Yeah, thank you for your speech. I just wanted to ask, I'm 22 years old, and if I'm hiring people, they're almost every time older than me, and they bring a lot of experience. So I think it makes sense to have a team meeting and say, hey, what are your experiences? I can learn from you even. So would you say in early stages and startup stage, it makes sense to bring really everybody on board and just have a talk right at the beginning? Or would you say, no, you have to make your point and to be a chef kind of, to let them work for you and also bring your expertise? What would you say?
It's very hard sometimes to understand because of the microphone, not because of you. But I try to answer, and you can tell me if it's right or not. So I think if they are older than you, that's fine because they bring all the experience in it. And you have to understand from the beginning that we need all the generations, because there were a lot of startups out there that just hired the young people because they have no family and they can work all day, all night. I think, thank God, this culture is over. And now you have to understand really identify the weaknesses and the strengths. And if you are a leader also of older people, then you just have to get into the dialogue and you have to address the topic. So, because that's also unconscious that you think, oh, he or she is younger, I have more experience, why has he or she the job and I'm not? So you have to build that relationship, and it doesn't matter the age or anything else, it just matters if you're really focused on the people, if they see that you bring all in, and if they can trust you, and then this relationship will grow and you will really get good success out of it, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I know you had a question, but please refer to Dominique off stage. Thank you very much for an insightful talk.
Thank
See you here in
you.
10 minutes again.